Okay, I'll call this meeting of the Water Environment Services Advisory Committee to order. And Chris, you want to, where we take the roll? Yes, take the
Sounds
roll.
great. All righty. Let's see Christina yet. Counselor Brake,
Here.
Greg DiLoretto,
Here.
Jeff Dodd.
Here.
I'm gonna bounce back. Christina Brow. I see you.
Here.
Good. Anthony Fields,
I'm here. Not Tony.
William Gifford.
He's here.
Okay, I see him. Counselor Golovy.
Here.
Okay. Brian Johnson.
Here.
Counselor Cosgrove Body. I don't see him yet. Mayor Milch.
He's
See
here.
him?
Yeah, he's here.
Here.
Okay. Oh, I see him. Catherine Miller.
Here.
Marshall Pawlowski.
Here.
And am I saying your last name right?
Paholski, you're close.
Paul Holsky. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul Holsky. Okay. And Colleen Rockwell.
Here.
Neil Schulman.
And Neil's
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, with that, we'll turn it over to Greg for the director update. Take it away.
I just want to start by welcoming Marshall and Todd to our humble committee here.
Jeff.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. We had the opportunity. So Marshall comes from 30 years at BPA, and Jeff is a longtime Hoffman Construction. So very happy to have them. I was able to give them kind of an orientation and a tour of the Tri-City facility earlier this week. So that was a lot of fun. We are still looking for a development review or a development seat on the committee. I had coffee with Ben from the Government Affairs Director from Home Builders Association last week. So putting our feelers out there. If you know anybody in the development community that might be interested in giving their perspective about WES and what we do and how we do it, please get the word out. Also, we presented the American Council of Engineering Companies Award earlier this week at the board for our Upper Kellogg restoration and flood management project, which was a pleasure and a lot of fun. That was an award that, well, I'll mention it in my presentation later, but that was fun. We're presenting our budget to County Administrator Gary Schmidt on Monday. So cross our fingers on that. No surprises, as you'll hear later. Our payment system, hopefully, as you know, is back up and online. We are going to take the opportunity to learn something from that, and as I described in my email. And then I wanted to share something exciting that I haven't shared before, and that is on March 31st, we're going to have a policy session in front of the board and the public about WES piloting a 2-year budget. So rather than an annual budget, we would do it every other year. We would continue to have audits annually, is my understanding. And the board would set rates annually, but we would only go through the budgeting process once every 2 years, which Aaron is very, very excited about the prospect of doing that.
Yes.
It kind of gets us off the hamster wheel, so to speak. And we think that we have the circumstances, the discipline in our budgeting process, the predictability of our revenues, that it will be a good thing for us. It may not be, like I said, as a pilot for the county, may not work for everybody, but we're going to give it a shot, and we're excited about it. If the board allows us to give it a shot. So
Will
we'll
that
find
be
out
in the
on-
same, will that be coordinated with the state budget
Yes, that's
bienniums? Okay.
yes. Yes. And that's all I got.
Okay, any questions for Greg? All righty, we will move on to the approval of the January minutes. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All right, from Sina, I need a second
Second.
from Mayor Milch, I believe. Were there any discussion? Hearing none, I guess take the roll, Chris.
All right. Christina Brow.
Yay.
Counselor Brake.
Abstain, I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. Greg DiLoretto.
Yes.
Jeff Dodd.
Yay.
Anthony Fields. Anthony Fields. Tony.
Tony?
I said yes.
Oh,
Apparently,
sorry.
I didn't
I think you
coordinate
said it
the.
so quick that it didn't even register it on the. You're too fast. Okay, sounds good. It's noted. William Gifford.
Yes. I
Nice
didn't
and
want to be
slow.
too fast for you. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Counselor Golby.
Aye.
Brian Johnson.
I wasn't there.
Okay.
Steve?
Counselor Cosrabati.
Aye.
Mayor Milch.
Yes.
Catherine Miller.
I think I wasn't there if I recall correctly.
Okay,
Apologies.
I'll put you in as abstain. Marshall Polhosky. Did I say it better this
I'll
time?
abstain since I was
Okay.
not there.
Okay, sounds good. Colleen Rockwell. And Neil Schulman.
Abstention as I was not.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. We will now move to public comment. Do we have any public to comment?
If there's anybody from the public and you'd wish to comment, please raise your hand or unmute. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Then we will move on to Greg's report on state of the district. Take it away.
All right, thank you, Greg. So this is something that we've been doing for 6 or 7 years now, where I go out to the various, well, all kinds of different places, but mostly geared towards the cities and their city council or commissions. And really, what I'm going to present to this is my presentation. I'm not going to give the same presentation because I'm just showing you what I'm going to present and asking you for your feedback about the content and if you have any suggestions for either topics that I should be talking with these folks about out in the community or just constructive criticism of what we're doing or what I'm presenting out there. And really, this is geared towards kind of new city councilors or commissioners, as well as the public that may be in the room or watching via the internet, watching the meetings. And it's for some areas like Oregon City, Westland, Gladstone, Milwaukee, we don't bill those communities. And so this is another effort, in addition to all the other, sponsoring community events and other outreach that we do in these communities to get the who we are, what we do, and why we matter message out there for WES out in the communities that we don't directly bill. Next slide. So I'm going to go right out the gate with how great we are. And just mention the 2025 Outstanding Member Award. I'm not going to share this with them, but I think I may have shared it with you already, but I did not know we were going to get this award. And I'm wearing shorts for those of you who don't recall. So very creative editing there. Next.
TMI.
Yeah, right. So for those newer folks, a few years ago, we redid our vision and mission. And I just love our vision. I think it really encapsulates what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it in the community. So I always want to touch on that. Next. Always want to remind people the geographic area that we serve. And a lot of folks don't know that we actually have 5 treatment facilities, not just the 2 main ones in Milwaukee and Oregon City. So I like to remind folks of that. Next slide. Always want to stay focused on our focus areas and stay focused in general. Next slide. Always want to do kind of by the numbers, although we don't, I say I always want to. Again, I'm looking for your feedback. These are just kind of the numbers, the stats for WES. So let me know if that resonates or not. Next slide. This is actually my favorite slide because it's kind of one of the things that I'm most proud of about WES is that when we formed in our current iteration in 2016, it really gave us an opportunity to plan for the future. And we did that. We did long-range facility plans looking out 20 to 40 years. We did collection system master planning, looking at both condition and future growth needs based on and commissioned um, population forecasts. So we really got a good picture of what we've got, what kind of condition it's in, and what we need for the future. And couple that with a long range or longer range capital plan. So what kind of big ticket items and other smaller items are we going to need to put in place for both the condition component of our system and the growth component? Once we did that, we were able to develop a long-range financial plan thanks to Erin and her team. So that's what we need to build, when we need to build it, and how we're going to pay for it. And that all goes into a 5-year capital plan that we update every year. Even we look out farther than that, but that's kind of the official duration. And underlying that and guiding us along the way and holding us accountable is our strategic plan. So we do a lot of planning, and I've been in government for a long time, and I know a lot of government entities do a lot of planning. I think what sets WES aside is that we follow the plan, we implement the plan, we adapt along the way, and we hold ourselves accountable. Next slide. I'll talk about our core strategies briefly. Next slide. Always want to let people know where their money's going. So 62% operations and maintenance, 11% debt payments, and then 27% infrastructure and reserves. Next one. We also want to talk, well, actually, you know about this. So there's an annual financial report that we submit to the GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association. And if it's good, we get an award. And we've gotten that, and the county's gotten that award for as long as I can remember, every year. There's also, if you want to go a little step above that, there's a Budget Excellence Award. And we started going for that one. Erin, when did we start that one?
2017-18.
17-18. So we've been consistently every year getting that award as well. And then there's one more, and it's called the Popular Financial Annual Report, or PAFR, Popular Annual Financial Report, which is geared towards the public, the general public, our customers, our ratepayers, and explaining how WES spends their money. And so we are submitting, or we submitted a Popular Annual Financial Report this year. And so that's called, if we get an award for that, it's called the GFOA Triple Crown, which is a huge achievement. And only out of all of the public entities in Oregon that submit these reports, only 9 of them have the Triple Crown. So we will be, at least as of today, the 10th to be able to achieve that, which is a big deal. And Erin and her team are very proud. They're very hopeful and will be very proud when we do get that.
Greg?
Yeah.
So the popular report, so that's a separate budget report you prepare. It sounds like it's something that's meant to be a little more user-friendly for
That's
the general
exactly it.
public.
Yes.
So does that impose a lot of additional work on our staff to prepare a report of that kind? Because it sounds like it is very helpful for the public to have something written in clear language that they can comprehend.
I'm going to let Erin answer that.
Yeah, great question. It was a full team effort, and it was actually an opportunity to enlist other members of our finance team who don't work as closely on the comprehensive annual financial report to get their perspective. And so it did take us some time, but because many hands make light work, it came together pretty quickly. And I do think it has value for our ratepayers and our customers. So we want to continue doing that.
I agree, it does. So thank you for working on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Erin, could we maybe work with Chris and have that? We can send that out to this group.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. All right, next slide. I'll talk about our operations and some of our challenges from the past year for those of you, or for those people that hadn't heard about it.
Mr. Geist?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Back to the certificates of achievement.
Mm-hmm.
if we go to a biannual, does that mean we don't get an award every year? Just every
Oh,
other?
that's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, great point. It would mean that we're every other year Triple Crown potential. But I think that could be a small price to pay for the efficiency of a biennial budget.
I agree. Thank you.
All right, next slide and then next slide. When I'm out in the public in general and in front of these councils and commissions, I always like to offer a tour, both to the public and to them, especially if they're new and haven't seen our facilities. So I will be doing that. Next slide. Also, we'll be talking about field operations. And as I've gone through I am going to change the order of this up a little bit. But anyway, so we'll talk about what we do kind of at our facilities, what's happened over the past year, what we're looking forward to for the next year. We'll do the same thing for field operations. But I think we may change the order of these slides, but go ahead. Next slide. Always like to explain how our system works. You know, people flush their toilet and they just expect it to go away. And so we like to let them know kind of how it gets to our facility in order to be treated. Next slide. I'll be talking about several of the main larger projects that we're working on, which you've all heard about these, so I won't go into detail. Next slide. Always want to celebrate our Tri-City Outfall project. One thing that you folks may not know, well, you do know that we brought the new Outfall online in December. So there's been a little, some follow-up work, some tweaks, some stuff back and forth, and final kind of change orders submitted. We've done all of the review and accounting on that, so we know what the final bill is. And I'm proud to say that we are on time and on budget. And the actual, it was a $58 million project. We were within 0.03% of that target, which is just remarkable. I don't know if it's just blind luck or, but it's remarkable. So, next slide. So yeah, I'll talk about breaking ground last year on the Three Creeks floodplain enhancement project. I also wanted to call it, that's Nick Koval on the right there, who's a WES employee in our procurement section, and he made those really cool logoed items for that event. And it's really great to get out and have these types of kickoff events for these kind of flagship projects, get the community, again, aware of who we are, what we do, why we matter, and get some energy behind and awareness of the work that we're doing for the communities we serve. Next. I will also talk about the Upper Kellogg project and the award that we won, and then follow that with the video that we're going to share with you next. Oh, by the way, this video, it was produced and paid for by OTAC, who was the design engineer. And it was taken right after one of I don't remember which one of the main big December rain events. And I just happened to be in the area and wanted to see how the project fared through that major event. And it just happened to be the day that they were filming their this piece for submittal for the Engineering Excellence Award. So I kind of photobombed them and got a little cameo in at the end. So.
In Clackamas County, Oregon, the Upper Kellogg Creek faced persistent challenges. Frequent flooding from undersized driveway crossings disrupted life for residents in the neighborhood multiple times every winter, threatening the health of the local watershed. Urban flooding and poor water quality were more than inconveniences. They impacted public safety, property, and the environment year after year.
This has been a location that's experienced drainage problems for, I would say, almost 30 years. And it's been something we haven't been able to solve until now.
To address these issues, the county launched a project focused on reducing nuisance flooding by optimizing stormwater conveyance and restoring the creek's natural conditions. The OTAC team embraced a nature-based green infrastructure approach.
Everything is native plantings on this project. We tried to negotiate as much riparian width as we could along the creek through people's front yards so that we could get as much native riparian vegetation established along the creek as possible.
The path to success was complex. Most of the work took place on private property, requiring proactive engagement with local landowners to build trust and secure easements.
For this one in particular, it was really trying to balance meeting the needs from an engineering perspective, but also recognizing that the majority of this work was done in somebody's front yard.
The schedule was tight, driven by the need to allocate $2.4 million in grant funding before the end of 2024.
The key to meeting the schedule was a lot of ongoing regular communication, a streamlined procurement process, and then we ended up with a really good contractor.
You know, the design had to happen really quickly. We originally had a 2-year in-water work period, and we were able to wrap up all of our in-water work in 1 year.
What truly sets Upper Kellogg apart is its impact. Directly benefiting over 100 neighborhood properties, the project's visibility has sparked public conversation and education about watershed health and the role of engineering in community resilience.
We just had a very significant rain event, and I'm just out here checking it out. It looks great. I'm really proud of the work that OTAC did and the WES team. It looks like the project's a real success.
Thank you to our project partners whose collaborative spirit and commitment to improving the community made this possible.
Nice.
What happened?
One moment.
What happened on my screen here? There we go.
Clackamas County, Oregon.
Stop. I just want to get out of here. I don't know what's happening.
So many buttons.
Hold on.
Okay, so a couple quick things. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Leah Johansson from our engineering division was the project manager on that project. She did a fantastic job. It was from inception to completion in 2 years, which for a project that complex, with all of the property acquisition and neighborhood involvement and detailed engineering, that was a very quick turnaround. Thanks very much to her. And the fun fact, we did actually contribute to that video in the sense that one of a WES employee named Matt Zach, who is an actor on the side, is the one who narrated the video, and he did a wonderful job. So thank you, Matt. And then the last thing I'm going to end up on, we've got one more quick video to show, but the importance of us connecting with the community. We need to be out there so people know who we are, what we do, why we matter, and building those partnerships and collaborations out in the community. This is, I think, our 8th year now with Solve sponsoring the Down the River, or the Summertime Waterways Cleanup Series. And again, a way to bring WES staff and the community together, as well as the Solve volunteers. Great way to get our message out into the community, and we enjoy doing it quite a lot. Next slide. Oh, more connecting with the community. I won't go into detail on this. I want to watch the video. Next slide. Today we're on the banks of the beautiful Clackamas River in Gladstone at High Rocks, and we're in partnership with Solve for our summer waterways cleanup series. Clackamas River and events like these really align with our mission to serve the community and partner with local entities like Solve. This is the 8th year of our partnership. This year we're at High Rocks for the final event of the summer waterways cleanup series, and so far this year we've had over 1,700 volunteers and picked up over 31,000 pounds of trash. At WES, we say what goes on the ground goes in the river, so we want to take care of High Rocks here today and the community in general. It's really important for us to be a good neighbor, and this is a great example of the type of events that allow us to get out in the community, work with our community members and with our neighbors, and we're happy to be here.
Every piece of trash makes a difference. So I know that people can look at the trash and think that it's overwhelming to pick it up, but really it's important and every piece matters. Water connects us all. That's why this partnership really means so much to us and the region itself. I think anybody who comes out here and enjoys this beautiful park could recognize how important it is to keep it clean. We always want people to walk away feeling like they made a difference and that they're fulfilled, and it's really easy to do. You can come out for 2 hours, and at the end you get to see the collective efforts of the group with all the bags of trash that are collected. And while you might think some things look clean, when you look down there's always stuff to be cleaned up, and micro trash and scattered debris is really, really important to clean up.
I love nature. I love seeing the pristine beauty of nature. So I think it's a great opportunity to come and help the environment and clean up and just make this place more beautiful. Everybody's benefiting. People, nature, the water.
We need to preserve the waterways and keep their integrity. People need to understand that those plastics and glass and all the litter, it does matter to the waterways and the fish, and especially all the other creatures that live out here as well. I think it matters to preserve Oregon. There's a lot of waterways out here and they're beautiful. I want to keep them that way. You should come out here and do it too. It's your home. Help take care of it.
All right. And the last slide is just asking for questions. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm going to be presenting to the commission in Oregon City and the councils in the rest of the cities and other places out in the community. Basically, once we get this thing going, I'll go anywhere that will have me, whether it's a Rotary Club or Chamber of Commerce or whatever.
Okay, questions for Greg?
I just want to say, Greg, this is Brian.
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks for getting that done finally after like
yeah,
more like 50 years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
all there was this goes way, way back.
Yep.
Way back before WES was even around, fixing those people down there. It was crazy.
Yep. And to think that they came through both of those December rain events with no flooding is
it was like they had a lot of room to spare. It's like I'm kind of thinking to myself, why do we need to do phase 2?
Yeah.
But you're down there, do phase 2. But there's still a few more hot spots. But finally, I mean, because your pictures of the flooding there, when it was flooding, were not as good as some of them.
Yeah.
In the past, where it's just literally unbelievable.
Yeah, that was just the most recent stuff. It's been much worse historically.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for getting that done for those people.
You're welcome. Mayor Milch.
Kind of a follow-up on Brian's question. Are there other communities that have similar situations, or is there what he referred to as a phase 2 for this? You've had when you have this kind of success, you think, you ought to take care of everything. Is there more to be done in this area, or are there communities that have similar creeks that go through that cause this kind of problem, or was this the main one?
Ron's on the call. I'm going to let Ron take that question.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Yeah, Mayor Milch, this was definitely, like Brian said, a long-standing and known issue. It was also extremely complicated. There's a lot going on in that watershed, and so I think we landed on a good solution that works with nature to solve the problem, but was certainly a hot spot. There are some other areas that do experience some flooding from, storm systems interacting with natural systems, and we have some of those in our storm system master plan, which was a 20-year outlook on projects that we need to do, and so we're continuing to chip away at those. But it's a long road. We won't get overwhelmed with all the work to do. We just need to do it, so we take it one bite at a time.
Well, this year we've certainly had the events that test these systems, and so I'm glad it's on your radar for the future. And as we see, the impact of climate change and heavier rain incidents and things, we'll know where to devote our time and energy in the future. So I'm glad you're already thinking in that direction, Ron. I appreciate it.
Okay, anybody else? Well, I just like to say, I mean, after watching this, you got to feel pretty proud of the work that WES does, and you also got to be feel pretty proud about our small involvement in the work they do. I mean, every place I go, I talk about being on this committee and the work we do, and it's just great. So, congrats to the team at WES, but also congrats to all of you on the committee here for
Absolutely.
participating as well. It's good stuff. Well, all right, now for the what will may be the last 1 year budget that Aaron has to do. Go ahead and take it away.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Greg. I saw that Todd posted the popular annual financial report link. Thank you, Todd. If anyone has a chance to look through that, and if you have any feedback for us, please do let us know. This is our first report, so we would appreciate any ideas or suggestions you have to help us improve. All right. Tonight, I'm excited to be sharing a preview of our fiscal 26-27 budget. Next slide, please. And we'll be going over the budget process fairly quickly, and we'll dive into our current fiscal year projections. We'll go over inputs and major themes for the upcoming year, as well as next steps, and end with confirming our budget committee members. Please feel free to ask questions as we go along. I'll try to keep an eye out for hands raised, but feel free to interrupt me if I don't see your hand. You guys always have wonderful questions, and I want to ensure that this is a conversation. Next slide, please. Right, so WES's budget process follows statutory guidelines for government budgeting in the state of Oregon. And I know that many of you have worked with other government entities in the state of Oregon, so our process is probably pretty similar to what you've gone through. Our full budget process encompasses approximately 6 months from January to June of each year and is broadly divided into the public process and the internal process. Internally, we've been in budget development since the beginning of January, and tonight's meeting marks the first milestone in our public process. Next slide, please. These next two slides are projections for our current fiscal year in relation to the adopted budget. And this gives us an idea of, this is the first step in the budget process because it gives us an idea of the resources that we'll end the current year with that will roll into the next year and are available for spending then. So revenues include our beginning fund balances, which is that top line in the table and WES's most significant resource. Projected total resources, the bottom blue line in the table, are coming in about 2.5% below our budget due to lower than anticipated system development charge or SDC revenue, as well as lower grant revenue. In the last 2 years, we've had similar variances in SDCs due to slower development. And we're also slightly below our budget in retail sewer and surface water charges due to that slower growth, because we projected the growth based on higher projections last year, and we just haven't seen that growth materialize. Yes, William.
Excuse me. I've always felt uncomfortable putting grants in a budget because they're not guaranteed. You can base it on your previous history and say, well, we've always gotten this grant, but times they are a-changing, and you never can guarantee that that's going to be there. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that you knocked it down by 2 mil.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. So we did, and actually on the grant revenue line item, we were certain that we were going to be receiving the ARPA funding for the Upper Kellogg projects that you just saw the video for. So we knew that that revenue was going to come in, and then we were fairly sure that we would be receiving a Metro Nature in the Neighborhoods grant for Three Creeks. And so both of those resources did materialize. What didn't materialize is a $2 million congressional earmark for the boring treatment plant project. That project's been on a much slower timeline. The money has been reserved for WES, so we're expecting we'll be able to have that as a resource in a current future year, but that's the reason for the variance there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Neil.
Yeah, I was just going to respond a little bit to William's concern. And obviously, I think what he's saying makes sense from a conservative budgeting standpoint. There's a couple of different situations. And as I run an organization that is almost entirely grant funded, we've kind of, I think, learned to find ways of both conservatively estimating what we're going to receive. And yes, times change and you just kind of have to navigate that landscape. Obviously, there are certain places where you do know that you've been awarded a 3-year grant and you're in year one and you can kind of reliably budget for that.
Sure.
But I think the important thing is really in that is how you adapt midstream if things change more than anything else.
Good point. Thank you, Neil.
Mayor Milch.
I assume you are under similar budget rules that some of our cities are, where not only your expenditures have to be budgeted accurately, but also your revenue, and you can't exceed the revenue that you put in the budget. So you have to get, if you're expecting that you might get a grant, it's prudent to include it in the budget. And of course, you have to deal with the consequences of maybe not getting everything that you anticipate. But as far as the process, are you under a similar requirement to list all your expected revenue in order that you don't exceed what you budget?
Yeah, that pretty close to that. So we can exceed what we budget in revenues, but in terms of grant revenue, because those are typically one-time resources, when we don't budget for that, it's harder to incorporate any spending into the budget. So we want the grant resources to be related to the requirements, either capital outlay or other requirements. So we typically do include those if we are fairly certain of their receipt, to Neil's point. But great question.
Thanks.
Councilor Brike.
And you also likely don't spend money when the grants come in there for specific things. So those dollars aren't spent until the grant money is known.
Exactly. Yep. Excellent point. Neil, I see your hand is still raised. Did you have another question? Oh, thanks. All right. I think another line item of interest on this slide is the interest income line, which is 17.2% over budget. We generally budget fairly conservatively with respect to interest income, which is a product of our interest-bearing balances as well as the interest rates. And we're projecting that the feds would start to lower interest rates faster than they have been. They've been reluctant to lower interest rates due to concerns about inflation and uncertainty in the economy. So we have benefited from higher interest rates for longer, and this is the third year in a row that we're receiving interest income above our budget. Mayor Milch.
One more question about the system development charges. You indicated that it's lower than budgeted because of less development going on. It is not lower because of any policy changes like waiving fees for certain kinds of development or anything like that. Is that correct?
Yes. Great question. That is correct. We are not currently waiving fees for development. There is one more nuance, though, to why we're a little bit below budget, and that's because the fee increase this year was postponed due to the system development charge methodology update that took place in September. And so we didn't implement a fee increase until November. So that's part of the reason for the variance there. But other than that late adoption of the fee increase, we haven't had any sort of waivers or discounts on those.
Okay, I know a lot of municipalities are doing that in order to incentivize certain development, housing development, things like that. And I just wanted to be clear whether we were or weren't. So thank you.
Yeah, we do have our tiered SDC fees. So we charge lower fees for smaller homes and ADUs based on their relatively lower impact to the system. And all other revenues, 55% above budget. That's another line item that we're very conservative about budgeting. It also includes one-time miscellaneous revenues that we can't budget for, such as insurance claim proceeds or asset sale proceeds. And we did receive insurance claim proceed this year for a truck that we had a claim for, and we also sold some old equipment. So we're seeing a little bit of revenue come in from those resources, which is leading to the above budget on that line. Yes, William.
Thank you. The all other revenues, that's a 55% increase.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a few things that are included in that?
You bet. Yeah. So we typically budget for plan review fees, lien search fees, other fees where we have a relatively stable level of activity from year to year. It also includes late fees, and we're over budget there because we received the insurance proceeds that I just mentioned, along with some asset sale proceeds. Our late fee revenue is also coming in quite a bit higher than we had projected because we were conservative with that, not knowing whether or not the board would approve the new late fee structure that has a $5 minimum fee if an account is past due. And then we also have some higher lien search fees this year. So we are starting to see a little bit of an uptick in development activity and real estate activity, as evidenced by slightly higher plan review fees and lien search fees for the current fiscal year. It's hard to tell, though, if those will continue.
Thank you.
You bet. Next slide, please. And in terms of expenses, that top line, WES labor, that's all the labor for our staff, is coming in higher than we budgeted, about 5% or $900,000 over, due to reduced vacancies in the current fiscal year, as well as salary adjustments from position reviews and market studies that have been completed throughout the last year and a half. All other materials and services are any other operating and maintenance line item, and those are coming in under budget by about 7.5%, due to lower spending of professional services, as well as repair and maintenance supplies and other county services. So the total materials and services budget, which is the level that that line item is appropriated at, is about 200,000 and change over, under right now. So we are potentially going to be doing a contingency transfer in the sewer operating fund just to give ourselves a margin of safety and ensure that we don't go over there, since labor has been quite a bit higher than we budgeted. Yes, William.
Excuse me, the other materials, I'm focusing on the materials part of it. I'm wondering, are we still being impacted by tariffs and other supply chain issues?
We have not seen as much of the impact of tariffs that we were anticipating. Anecdotally, we've seen increases in computer hardware costs, as well as some equipment that we import from Canada. But the increases there haven't been as high as we were thinking they might be last year during the budget.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. But we are thinking about that, and that's on an upcoming slide about known and unknown factors that will play a part in development of this next year's budget. Special payments, Mayor Milch.
I'm sorry, just one more question. On capital outlay, that's one of the biggest items where we have a reduction. Is that in response to having less revenue than we had anticipated, or is this just a choice of timing on doing our capital plan?
Yep, you got it. So it's a shift in the timing of some projects. So we are underspending on the Tri-City Influent Pump Station in the current fiscal year, and we'll see slightly higher spending this next year just because that project started a little bit later than we were anticipating when we were going through the budget last year. And there's a handful of other projects where we're also seeing those shifts to next year will be heavier construction for those, whereas we were thinking construction would commence during the current fiscal year. And that includes primary clarifier rehab at Tri-City, as well as the Willamette area capacity improvements, which is the project that we're working with ODOT on. So the delays for the bridge, the Abernathy Bridge crossing, is causing a delay in that project's delivery. So that's the primary reason for the variance there. Great question. Councilor Reich.
Yes, thank you. And that's also one of the benefits of having a biennial budget, because these capital projects don't align with a July 1 through June 30 calendar. They can roll over one way or the other, and when you're in a 2-year budget, you have better opportunity to spend the money as planned.
Thank you. That's a great point. Yeah, our capital program manager, Jeff, is particularly excited about the biennial budget idea because, of course, the end of the fiscal year intersects with the construction season. So it makes projecting which year the project expenses are going to fall in pretty challenging. And as Councilor Bike said, it's one of the benefits. So we're looking forward to that as long as the board approves us to pilot. I think the only other item on this slide I'll mention is special payments, which includes the right-of-way fees that we pay to Oregon City, Gladstone, and Happy Valley, as well as Good Neighbor Fund contributions. This year, we had a one-time payment for our arbitrage rebate liability related to the Series 2021 debt issuance. So we had budgeted a margin of safety for that arbitrage rebate liability to ensure that we wouldn't go over, and the actual calculation was a little under. So that's why we're seeing that variance there. And then lastly, we'll be ending this year with about $122 million in ending fund balance and reserves. And the majority of that, about $110,000, are in our construction and system development charge funds, where those resources will be used to deliver projects in the coming years. Next slide, please. And so Greg shared with you the importance of planning at WES, and the budget is not included as one of the core strategies on this slide, but all of these plans are related to each other. And the budget is really like the one-year manifestation of the capital improvement plan, the strategic plan, our long-range financial plan, and then our financial policies. And so I won't spend a lot of time on these because I think Greg already shared with them. But I do want to mention that these are all items that we rely on advisory committee input for, and that we regularly come to the advisory committee to request that input. So the capital improvement plan, of course, the advisory committee recommended that in September and November. It was approved by the board in January. The strategic plan we had worked with the advisory committee on back in 2023. We're actually undergoing an update to our strategic plan right now, and so we'll be coming back to the advisory committee in the coming months to share what we're looking at in terms of the update there. And the long-range financial plan was developed closely with the advisory committee's feedback back in 2022-23 and has been used as one of the core inputs for our budget development since then. Financial policies, it's been a couple of years since we've talked about those, but the debt management policy and our reserve policies were also products of cooperation and work with our advisory committee. So thank you very much for all of your assistance and input for these. Next slide, please. So another key input to the budget is the economic outlook, and that generally falls into three categories. The known external factors, which are the things that we can reasonably predict and account for in the budget. Uncertain external factors, which are things that could impact our financial position, and then controllable internal factors, actions that we can take to manage resources and mitigate risks. Those are things like our strategic plan and reserve policies. A few of the known external factors are shown on this slide. Service area growth, we have a population forecast that was completed by FCS Group back in 2022 that projected 1% growth across the service area. So that's what we're going to continue to use to project growth for next budget year. Although growth has been slower in the last 3 years, as mentioned, we have seen that the longer term trend is closer to that 1%. So that's the best information that we have currently. So we'll be continuing to use that. Interest rates is shown in the chart at the right. That's the local government investment pool, or the LGIP, where quite a bit of WES's resources are kept. And you can see those interest rates climbed from a low of under 1% in 2022 up to about a high of 5.3% in July of 2024. They've started to come down a little bit, but we're projecting about a 4% interest rate for the next fiscal year and continued high earnings. The construction cost index is starting to climb back up from the low that we saw last year of 1.6% following the highs that were due to the pandemic and supply chain issues. We are starting to see that approach the long-term average of 3%. Although I just looked right before this meeting, and March is up 2.7% with the volatility in the economy from the conflict going on in the Middle East right now. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. That is typically what we would base our system development charge fee increases on. Although for next year, we will be using the advisory committee's recommended and board approved phase-in to the calculated fees from the updated SDC methodology. And that's about a 7% increase in the stormwater SDC and a 3% increase in the sewer SDC. Labor is driven by cost of living adjustments, continued reduced vacancies. We have a very low vacancy count right now, which is excellent. Classification and compensation review work that has been completed and is ongoing for the current fiscal year, as well as increases in benefits and step adjustments. Electricity rate increases, we're getting a bit of a reprieve on. There was a 7% increase from PGE effective last calendar year. That increase is only 2% this calendar year, although we are keeping an eye out for a potential increase later in the calendar year, perhaps in the summer months. And then finally, county allocated costs, which are those costs that we pay to other county departments for internal and central services, such as technology services, human resources, payroll, and legal services. There's a slight increase of about 2.3% there, mostly driven by technology services increases related to software costs, offset by lower utilization that's bringing some of the other categories down. Next slide, please. And then looking ahead, again, some of the knowns that we have, in addition to the labor cost increases, we are anticipating increased supply costs, in part due to implementing one of the initiatives in our strategic plan, which is to build out a critical spare part inventory to increase our resilience and ability to react to volatility in the economy. But we also implemented this year a capitalization threshold change from $5,000 to $10,000, which is causing some of the smaller equipment purchases to hit the operating budget rather than the capital budget as they had in prior years. And then we have a couple of significant contracts that are coming up for renewal, including our chemical supply contracts and our biosolids hauling and land application contracts. And we're anticipating some increases there. Unknowns, of course, include tariffs, which for the most part were overruled, and now they were overturned, but we have uncertainty going forward since it looks like the approach is to try to impose a unilateral tariff at some point in the year. So we're keeping an eye there. We've also started to look at fuel costs, which is not on this slide, but we've seen a lot of increases in oil and fuel costs over the past couple of weeks, and that can increase our fleet costs as well as the cost for transportation for supplies. And then federal funding, continues to be uncertain, so we're pretty conservative with respect there, as we chatted about, as William brought up and Neil spoke to earlier. And then state and legislative actions, federal and state legislative actions are something that we always keep an eye on. There aren't any that we think will have an impact on next year's budget at this time, but it is something that we look to. Next year's budget will be built around our long-range financial plan and the financial strategies that are outlined there, including using our reserves for capital financing, so we don't anticipate issuing any new debt in the next year, controlling our operating costs as much as we can and trying to come in underneath that target of 5%, and managing our risk, which mostly consists of ensuring that we budget for contingencies so we're able to stay nimble and react to any uncertainties, and continuing to phase out legacy debt so that we can achieve that long-term unification across our rate zone. We have the CIP, so that will be the most significant element of our budget. Again, will be our capital projects, and then the strategic plan update that I mentioned, as well as implementation of the customer assistance program changes that we shared with the advisory committee back in September. We are on track to have that new program ready to go and launched in July. So looking forward to that. Next slide, please.
Oops.
And as Greg mentioned, we'll be meeting with the county administrator next Monday, and that wraps up our internal review process. Once we get the approval to move forward, we'll be into the public process, and the next step there is to distribute the budget document to this group and the public in early May. Yes, William.
Oh, I had a question about the previous slide, but I'll wait till you're finished with this one if you'd like.
Those are the main points on this one. We can go back. Yeah.
A couple of Tuesdays from now, I've been coordinating a forum with the Oregon City Business Alliance regarding the economic impacts of artificial intelligence, pros and cons of that. And it's a complicated issue, but I'm wondering if any effort has been made by WES to evaluate potential opportunities and dangers of artificial intelligence.
That's a great question. I think, and Ron or Greg might be able to chime in here. I think countywide we have a policy on the use of artificial intelligence that was worked on over the last year. But WES does not have, we have not separately investigated that.
Yeah, I would just say that we don't have current designs on AI technology, at least at any level. I mean, we're monitoring it, we're looking at it, we're going to local and national conferences, and we'll see what's out there and how it could benefit our customers. I'm a big proponent of adopting new technology, but in a very thoughtful, methodical way. And it's got to be tried and true kind of thing. So yeah, we're not in a rush to adopt AI, but we will continue to monitor what's happening in the industry and where it might benefit us and our
Even if we
customers.
don't adopt it, Greg, I do hope that we are considering a strategy for potential uses for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. So board adoption will be in June. We do not yet have the date for the budget committee meeting, but we know that it will be the week of May 26th. So as soon as we do find that out, we'll let this group know. Next slide, please. And according to the bylaws for the WES Advisory Committee, budget committee members are recommended by the advisory committee. Now we do have 5 existing budget committee members. One term expired last year, Mara McGriff, and she has indicated a willingness to serve again. Of course, the advisory committee can also nominate others or even yourself if you're interested in serving. So I'm going to pass this back over to Greg to run that part of this.
Thank you, Aaron. So yes, as she mentioned, Mayor McGriff's term is over, and she has indicated a willingness to serve again, but we can open it for anyone else, or we can nominate her to serve again and make that a recommendation. So I'll throw that out to you folks, what you want to do.
I will nominate Mayor McGriff to serve a subsequent term.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
The quick discussion that Mayor McGriff term as mayor is going to be expiring the end of this year. And if that position was based on her current status, that status will change after the end of the year.
But she'll still be a commissioner or not?
No.
Mayor.
No.
She will be neither a
on the
commissioner
city
nor a
council.
mayor.
Oh, so she won't be on the council at all.
That's correct.
And that's okay. So she'd
have
be
to
able
be.
to serve this budget period, and then we would need to fill that role for the next budget
I think
period.
that's probably prudent to imagine her serving for this particular budget year, but after that,
right, she would be off.
Unless she wants to reapply, I guess, as a citizen at large, or if there's another position like that.
Sounds good.
Councilor Reich?
Thank you. And if a biennial budget is approved, then the terms will change to 4-year terms instead of 3-year terms.
Okay, there you go.
Good.
Good point. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor then of reappointing or re-recommending, I guess is what we do, Mayor McGriff to a term on the budget committee, say aye.
Aye.
That's right.
Aye.
I'm sorry. We got to do roll. We got public meeting law says we got to do roll or something like it. Go ahead.
All righty. All right.
Sorry.
Christina Brown.
Aye.
Councilor Brake.
Yes.
Greg DiLoretto.
Yes.
Jeff Dodd.
Aye.
Anthony Fields.
Yes.
William Gifford.
Aye.
Councilor Golby.
Aye.
Brian Johnson.
Aye.
Councilor Khosrowbadi.
Aye.
Mayor Milch.
Aye.
Catherine Miller,
Aye.
Marshall Polowski,
Aye.
Colleen Rockwell,
Aye.
Neil Schulman.
Aye.
Alrighty,
Okay, so you can send our recommendation forward.
that's great.
Aaron, is there more to your presentation, or is this it?
This is it, unless there are any other questions.
Okay, any further questions for Aaron? Once again, a great job, very clear. We know where we stand financially. So this is good. Okay, I guess that moves us to our last item, any advisory committee discussion and report outs. I have one, but anybody else have a report out? Actually, I have two.
I just have one. I wanted to make mention and reminder that our River Health grant program is open for applications. So if you know of any projects or folks that would be interested in applying to this round, send them to our grant program. And if you need the link or have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay, good deal. There you go. So we have two new members to our committee, and Greg mentioned their names, but I wanted to give them a chance to introduce themselves maybe just a little bit more. Marshall, do you want to? I'm putting you on the spot.
That's okay. Yeah,
You want
thank
to
you.
say something about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Marshall Paholski. I am from Happy Valley, and I've been Happy Valley for about 5 years now. I moved here just a little before I retired from the Bonneville Power Administration. As was mentioned before, I had an over 30-year career with the Bonneville Power Administration. And so since I retired, I was looking for ways to really sink my teeth into projects and committees that fit my background and my interests. So I'm really excited to be here. I also sit on the Happy Valley Planning Commission, so having an interest and a connection with WES helps in my role there as well. So thanks for having me.
Well, welcome, and thank you for stepping up and volunteering.
You bet.
Appreciate that. And Jeff.
Yes, Jeff Dodd. I'm a resident of Boring, Oregon. Been out here for about 20 years and just looking forward to be a part of the community and bring my experience to the team.
Again, thank you very much for volunteering and help out. I think both of you will find this to be a rewarding and fun experience, and you can get involved in Greg makes it so we can get involved in a number of ways and participate, and he's not shy about asking us to do it either. So be prepared. Mayor Mills, you had your hand up? Oh, and then.
Yeah, since we have a couple new people, we are the Water Environment Services Advisory Committee. And since the Board of County Commissioners is the governing body of Water Environment Services, we are an advisory committee to the board. And sometimes at the city level or the county level, advisory committees can feel heard or listened to on a variety of levels. I just want to get, and not to put anybody on the spot, but we have new people. It's an election year for the Board of County Commissioners. Greg and others, how would you evaluate the level to which we are listened to and that our advice is appreciated by the Board of County Commissioners?
Great question, and something that I talked to Marshall and Jeff about literally earlier this week, and saying, we've been in existence for 10 years, and the board has taken every single recommendation from this committee and approved it, except for one. And that was around the timing of the implementation of system development charges. And it was a tweak to that that was not a big deal. So yes, it's a highly functional group, and the board has universally accepted the recommendations.
And I'll add to that, Mayor. There's been a couple times when I've attended a Clackamas County Commission meeting where Wes had an item on the agenda, and I didn't sign up, and I was actually invited because Greg mentioned that I was in the audience. I was actually invited to come down and say a few words to the commissioners. So I felt that they valued the work that this group is doing.
Yes.
Well, I was hopeful that would be your answer, because that's been my experience, and so I'm just glad to sort of get it on the record.
Yeah. William, you had a comment or question? Or?
Yes. I'm not a water engineer. Just understand that. I like I like to deal with money, but
Who doesn't?
and I understand well because it's complicated and it's detailed, but I came across an organization and I don't know anything at all about backflow testing. Is that anywhere in our bailiwick, backflow testing?
That's a drinking water item, and most all water utilities. Well, if you typically for a resident, it happens with your lawn sprinkler system, right? And you have a backflow device on it, and they don't want it to contaminate the drinking water with pressure flowing back into the water system, which doesn't happen, but anyway. So that's a drinking water thing. So your cities would, and in Clackamas River Water, those would be the agencies that tend to deal with that. I don't think, except that Greg has to install them on things, perhaps, but they don't test them.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know because I was yesterday, was it yesterday? It all runs together. Yeah, yesterday was it was Tuesday. What's today? Anyway, I went to the business in the county. There's the Clackamas County is having a three-part mini session of instead of just business in the county as one big event, they've split it into three different parts. And part one was okay, it was Tuesday, whatever today is, and it was sponsored by the North Clackamas Chamber, and they started off by thanking all of their sponsors and so on, and they were asking for representatives from organizations to stand up when their name was called. One of the first ones that was called was WES, and there was no one there from WES. Maybe I'm sure that it wasn't necessary. It was a lot of bloviation, but that's what politicians do. But I met a woman at my table who happened to be part of a new business that does backflow testing, and I didn't know exactly what it was, and I wanted to pass that along. But it was an interesting presentation in any event.
Well, if you live in any water district you're in, you probably got your letter telling you have to have it tested by July 1st. I know I live in West Lynn. I got my letter the other day. I've already arranged for my backflow device to be tested. I'm with the program. Tony, you had your hand up, or?
Yeah, I was going to offer to chat with William offline if he has questions about backflow. My part of my responsibility with my primary work is regulating backflow prevention assemblies and testing in Oregon, and I can go on at some length. I'll spare all of you that paid. But I will say it cheers me to hear that you guys are on top of the backflow stuff. As a drinking water guy, that makes me very happy.
Okay, anybody else want to add to our? Okay, I have one last item. Next week I will be, and it relates to our work here, I'll be going back to Washington, D.C. as I do every year to visit the delegation. And one of the asks we will have is with regards to the state revolving funds, and particularly clean water state revolving fund. And if I remember right, the ask is for $5 billion in the clean water fund. Now it's sort of a double-edged sword because, and Wes has participated in this too, in fiscal year 22 to 24, 3.7 billion went to earmarks. And you all recall back when earmarks were a bad thing and there was a bridge to nowhere. And so the Congress said, we're not going to do earmarks anymore. Well, then, of course, elected officials couldn't deliver anything to their constituents because they couldn't have any projects they could actually call out. But the problem was they took that 3.7 million out of the state revolving funds. And so now there was less money to be used for those projects that are on a big long list that anybody that ran a water, drink, or wastewater agency would put together to meet the criteria. So we're trying to get both, obviously. Go ahead and keep the earmarks, fund them, but don't take it away from the state revolving funds and keep those at a level that it has been under the IIJA, the Infrastructure Jobs Act bill. So we'll see what happens. There's 400 of us, I think, covering every state in the United States going up there next Thursday, week from today, and talking with our folks. So
it's a big effect on drinking water, and some of my team are going to that conference too, specifically to
talk
speak
about
out
that.
for that.
Great.
And like you guys, we very much support it, but it's resulted in about a 60% reduction in our SRF programming. And that's a rather significant hit to my team because most of our salaries actually is covered by some of the set asides that we get. So, that and of course, too, with the budget cliff that we're looking at with the end of the EJA funding, um, is a very scary time for us. So, yeah.
Well, you know how it works. You talk to your legislators, the more they hear, the more they're apt to do something. So do that. Anything else for the good of the order before I sign us off? Okay.
This falls under the category of cross your fingers and wait for a long time, but us, along with some of our partners, have been working with Senator Merkley's office. They're trying to put some green infrastructure grant programming into the Surface Transportation Authorization Bill. That is pretty stalled on the Hill, but obviously to have him focused on that is fantastic. So.
Well, and along those lines, Neil, that will be one of the other things, not the green infrastructure, but I'll also be talking, doesn't affect us here at WES, but talking about the reauthorization of the transportation bill. That's a big item on the list from my group too.
Great.
Lots of infrastructure stuff going on, so that's what we're going to concentrate on. Okay. My next meeting is in May, right? May 14th, is that correct? Okay. Put it on your calendars. We'll all see you on the big screen. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.